Welcome to today's reading, where we are looking at the outcome of two different paths or choices that you have. If you've had trouble making a decision, you're not sure which way to go, it feels like you need some extra help before you choose a direction, this reading could be for you. So I am going to show you the Two of Pentacles from each of these decks. If you're feeling indecisive in general right now and torn between multiple readings, go with your first instinct. And if that reading doesn't feel right, feel free to abandon it and try another group or an entirely different reading instead. Let's take a look at your options. For group one, we have Golden Healer Quartz. We are using the Chinese Tarot, and this is the Two of Pentacles. For group two, we have Red Jasper. We are using the Desert Illuminations Tarot, and this is the Two of Pentacles. For group three, we have Blue Goldstone. We are using the Pagan Tarot, and this is the Two of Pentacles. Okay, feel free to hit the pause button, give it more thought if you need to. The timestamps are in the description box below as always. I am going to get started now, so meet me in your reading when you're ready. Hi, group one. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Golden Healer Quartz and this Two of Pentacles from the Chinese Tarot. We are looking at the outcome of two choices, paths or decisions that you are torn between. After I lay out the cards, I'm going to give you a brief overview of each of these choices. This should act as an energy check and a confirmation of your group. Then we'll look at each choice. We'll look at choice one to start with. On the left here, we'll get into the short and long-term effects of choosing this path, the pros and cons of this choice, and then we'll do the same with choice two. I already pulled these cards, as you can see, so actually we don't need this deck unless we need to clarify, but I was going to lay them out with you so that you could see each card individually, but as I was getting set up, I realized that was going to take too long, and I thought it was a better use of your time to get straight into the reading. So I'm going to lay out your cards now and get straight into it. Okay, group one, so we have choice one over here on the left, and we have choice two over here on the right. So let's get into an overview of each choice so that we can make sure that this is your group. So for choice one over here, I'm wondering if you're thinking about leaving a relationship or a group of people or a religion or a job or a location or something else. It looks like you would be leaving something behind and kind of going off your own way. And this seems to be something that would feel like a bigger change, either in your life or in your day-to-day. You seem to be seeking freedom over here in this choice and seeking independence from someone or something. And you're also seeking healing, it seems like. You may be held back because you feel like you don't have all the information yet over here with the sugar maple. And you've been gathering information or praying for information so that you can make this choice and feel secure in it. We have this card, the Wreath card, Sorrow Over a Loss. And it seems like whatever you're thinking about leaving behind or changing is something you know wouldn't be easy to walk away from. There would be some pain involved or feelings of grief over what you would be losing. So it does make me think more people in this group are considering leaving a relationship, but you could be leaving behind a place or something that you just may have outgrown, or you're just wanting a new experience and you're wanting to sort of start fresh on your own away from what you've experienced so far. But there is still sadness and loss with the leaving, or you expect that there would be. If we look at choice two over here on the right, actually, no matter what, I think you're needing change to happen in this area of life, whatever it is for you, relationship, job, whatever. I think that you're wanting change no matter what, and you're trying to decide whether to fully walk away with choice one and free yourself, or with choice two, you're wondering if you should stay, but change your tactics, change your thoughts about this, change your behavior or your actions around this, or it kind of looks like you're like standing your ground or defending yourself or having stronger or better boundaries and sticking to them, changing the way that you think about this, staying in it, but changing yourself and hoping for renewal or a new fresh energy if you stay, but if you change yourself and the way you see it or think about it or feel about it or the way that you put up boundaries or something. It feels like you may be thinking about changing your reactions or getting internally stronger to deal with whatever you've been unhappy about. And you're hoping possibly that by doing this, things will renew or get better, or the energy will change and you will maybe no longer want to leave. Because, with the stork here too, with the news of a birth or a new business opportunity, it does feel like there's still potential over here, and that you're wondering if maybe you can adjust things so that it works better for you, versus just walking away and starting fresh. So if this at all resonates and sounds like what you're dealing with, let's start by focusing on choice 1 and run through the current likely outcome of choosing this, and then we'll run through the second choice. Okay, so looking over here at choice 1, let's look at, we're going to start here with the 5 of Cups and look at what the short-term effects might be for you if you choose this path. So, with the 5 of Cups, it's not going to be easy. It might feel really hard actually in the short term to go this route. It could feel really emotional, really draining or exhausting or stressful. And you'll absolutely have emotions or grief come up around this. You may worry you made a mistake, that this was the wrong way to go or the wrong thing to do. You may feel like you lost more than you bargained for, or you lost more than you gained, or the feeling of loss is more than you expected it to be. You may have expected to feel more like free and independent, but that free feeling isn't as present short term as the loss feeling is. The figure in this card, he doesn't seem that upset, but it's still the 5 of Cups. So there is some energy of being free and the way he's standing here with his foot up, you're still, there's a confidence in your choice, but there's also this loss that the 5 of Cups brings. And again, I do want to remind you that it would be short term, and we will see what the long-term effects will be. But in the short term, you may find yourself crying more, feeling like you're acting immaturely because of this choice, or you feel like your emotions or your reactions are almost like childish in a way that you don't like or approve of in yourself. You may try to focus on the positives. I'm just going to keep picking this back up. And you may try to focus on what you gain or you will gain from this choice, because, too, in the 5 of Cups, we have 3 cups that have fallen over and spilled, and we have 2 that haven't, and he's holding this one up. And so I think that you may be, again, trying to focus on these 2 positive cups and not so much what you've lost or walked away from. But it's still the loss is still sort of inescapable. It's forefront here in this card. And because it's a big change and a big transition, and even if you want to fully move toward freedom, you're sort of still standing in both worlds. It makes me think he's got 1 foot over here, 1 foot over here, 1 foot down here, 1 foot up here, and that there's the grief, but then there's the confidence. So it's standing between both worlds in the short term. It's not necessarily easy short term, which you probably expect. And it does kind of feel like you're feeling the loss somewhat viscerally. And I think your thoughts are also pretty tied up in it in the short term. It feels like a mess you're still having to clean up. These have spilled over, and he's I'm focusing on this, but he still has to clean it up. He's not going to let it just it kind of looks like water, but it kind of looks like milk. You're not going to just leave it. You still have to clean up the mess of the grief and what you lost. And you may not want to deal with it, but you're kind of having to. It could feel kind of overwhelming in the short term. And it feels like you can't fully get to a place of clarity where you know for sure, like 100% of the time, that you did the right thing for yourself. There may be moments of feeling really peaceful or free and like this was the right thing to do. And then there are moments where it feels cloudier. It's harder to access those feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. And you struggle to maintain a feeling of like, this was the right thing to do. And, you know, with the way the wall looks behind him as well, and it just makes me think that you also may be struggling a little bit if this changes your home life at all, your immediate surroundings. So if you're moving to a new city, into a new home because you left something away, like you left something behind, or if you're moving away from another person, these new surroundings may not immediately be to your liking, or you may feel like you don't have the time or the energy or the money to fix things up in the way you want to just yet. And that could also bring some frustration for you. How will this path affect you in the long term? We have the Wheel of Fortune. And in the long term, we have a major arcana versus the minor in the short term. So the first thing that might be telling me is that the short-term impacts may not be fun, but they are more like temporary. They may not last as long or have as much of a lasting effect on you. And the longer term effects are a lot more important, maybe more lasting, and will have a bigger impact on you. And that's, of course, like not surprising, since long-term effects usually are more important than short-term effects, right? And the Wheel of Fortune is often about fate and luck and things going your way. So that's also saying to me that luck is on your side in this choice. And of course, we'll look at this side. I'm not saying that just because luck is on your side here, that this is the choice to make, but it does look like there is luck here in this choice, and that things will eventually even out, find a flow and a rhythm again, and bring lucky circumstances into your life and your experience of life. And the Wheel of Fortune is also about cycles. It feels like you're going to find yourself in a new cycle, a feeling of new life where you've escaped a place that you were stuck in and now you're beginning again. But also like no longer feeling stuck, like there isn't stuck energy here. It's moving, it's flowing. And longer term, you feel that in this area of your life, there is more flow again, more rhythm and more harmony, and things feel like they make more sense. So this energy does not last forever. It moves out and you move into new energy. And if what you're considering walking away from has been at all chaotic or inconsistent, or it's shaken your foundation or your emotions, this card feels like the rhythms of life make more sense. The seasons of life make more sense. Yes, there is still change. You know, we go from the turtle to the dragon to, I guess this also looks like a dragon, to the tiger. It's like there is still change. Your life still has seasons. Things still change around you and in your life, but you are more centered, more capable of allowing life to move the way that it does. And it also seems to move in a way that is more calming for you. And it does feel like there is a little bit of like, you know, intense energy here, but it makes more sense somehow. The long-term effects of this choice are being more in tune with yourself, because I think you're also understanding not only the seasons of your life, but your internal world in a way where like you're not at odds with yourself. Whatever you feel, whatever emotions you're having, whatever you're going through, there is more of a flow and more of a centeredness and understanding who you are. And there's the internal and the external and the world at large and the people in your life and your location. Like all of it is kind of like making more sense, and you're more in the flow of it even as it changes. And again, that doesn't mean every day is going to be rainbows and flowers. There are going to be times where people move more slowly or more quickly, where you spend more time with certain people and then other people, or more time alone and more time being social, or you are angry and then you are sad and then you are relaxed and then you are happy. There's going to be changes. There will be ebbs and flows. But the thing is that you'll be more in alignment with life and your surroundings, and you'll be feeling more centered and I think more healed on some level, which I think is, sort of what you've been searching for. And so that does seem to happen. So let's look here at the Four of Wands. This is what the overall pros will be if you choose choice 1. So it does feel like you have your independence, which is what you seem to be searching for. You make your own choices. You know what choices to make, and you feel more decisive. It feels like you embrace things about yourself that are unusual, and you're unafraid to be authentically yourself and be your weirdest or most unique self. Like, I don't know the history or the background of this card, and this could be like a very normal thing. In like Chinese history. I don't know, but like, because it just the way that this guy looks and like the way he's holding these wands, and it seems so unusual. It feels like you get in touch with your unusual self and you feel more comfortable being yourself, whether it is normal or not, or it goes back and forth. And it feels like the way he's holding them, and they're so balanced, and it's like, it feels like, he's, it's like when you're a kid. I mean, I don't know if everyone did this, but like you try to like hold a broom like on one finger for as long as you can and see like how you can balance it. That's what it looks like he's doing here with these, and he's doing 2 of them, and he's got his body, centered in a way to keep these balanced. And so it makes me think that the overall pros of this choice are that your life does feel more balanced. Your decisions feel more balanced. There's a harmony that comes through when taking this path or making this choice. And I feel like you have skills and talents as well that you either discover through making this choice, or they become stronger and come to the forefront, and you're able to share these skills or these talents or this knowledge with the world, or in your work, or in this area of life. You seem to be more clear-headed, more sure of where you're going and what you're doing. It looks like you might be really passionate about something you do. You seem to have less fear. I mean, I don't know if you've been experiencing fear, but it does feel like there's a fearlessness coming through. And so if you have been experiencing any anxiety or anything, this looks like that goes away. And there's a comfortable, happy quality coming through for me. Not only contentment, because the word contentment is coming to mind, but also a feeling of self-satisfaction, feeling really comfortable with yourself and the life that you've created around you. And I see you having knowledge. Again, like it's the same thing, skills or talents or knowledge that you display and share with others. Like it feels like there's people over here watching this happen. Like, yes, he's alone in this card, but I don't think he's doing it alone, because I just feel like there's an audience. You know what I mean? So I think that you're sharing something that you're good at or that you know about with other people, or even your balanced energy is coming out with other people. And yeah, it's almost like you know how to do something really niche, or like a lot of people don't know how to do this thing, or you're just really good at something, like you're better at something than other people that do it. Like you're one of the best or something, or you have a unique spin on something that other people do. And it is something you really seem to enjoy. Like I feel satisfaction in this card. You're able to really focus on it. There's a lot of concentration here, and you might spend a lot of your time doing it because this feels very practiced. It's like he didn't just do this today. It's too perfect. So this may be something you spend a lot of time on. It can be really fun for you. You get lost in the zone when you're doing it. Whatever this is for you, obviously it's probably not this. And it might be something that's really fun for you to share, or it's really fun for people to observe or to learn from. and they're entertained by it or they're in awe about it. And so this choice leads to these feelings of living a good life, at least in these areas. So then we'll look at the Three of Pentacles for what the overall cons or the negatives possibly of this choice would be. And right away, I see sort of a defensive quality that could rise up in you because of this choice. Just the way that this person seems to be, it feels very defensive. And like, why is he shooting the arrow at these so close and like in such a weird position? So there could be some defensiveness, or you could end up sort of like showing off in a way where you become slightly full of yourself. Or yeah, because it's like, okay, maybe you're really good at something and it's really fun, but then it could become where you become sort of like you're showing off, or it becomes more ego than it does like just the enjoyment of it. I don't know. And so I don't know. It kind of seems like you might let things get to your head a little bit. And so it feels like a little bit of a caution. If this is your path and this is where you go, you're being cautioned to keep a level head and stay humble. And if things do expand for you, also like being receptive to other people and letting go of any tendencies to think you're more right or you know everything compared to other people. It could be that because you may be choosing a path here that has a stronger level of independence and self-reliance, that it could drift into the realm of being like hyper independent, or not allowing other people in, or not allowing other people to help, or not working well with others, because the Three of Pentacles usually has other people in it. There's usually 3 people in the Three of Pentacles, and you're either working together toward a common goal, you are collaborating, or people are appreciating your work. And so the fact that like you're showing up alone in this card is also making me think these things, and that you could be either overly independent or thinking you know better than other people, or not allowing people to help or collaborate with you, or like even trying to like, or you find that like if your energy changes with this, people are no longer like appreciating it as much because there's a collaborative feeling with whatever you do where you may be doing it to entertain other people or something. I don't know. But the collaborative aspect isn't that like you're all doing a project together, but that there's a mutual enjoyment that flows through you. And it's possible that it could get to a point where like you sort of get out of that energy and end up in one where that mutuality disappears. So it kind of does feel more like a warning than it does an absolute outcome. It's telling you to make sure that you don't isolate yourself or you go too far. But I think with so many of these other energies, if you did drift in this direction, you'd find yourself drifting back into balance again. So honestly, the cons don't even look that bad. But let's see what else you need to know, because there could be other things. So finally, let's look to these cards for what else you need to know about this path. So we have Temperance. We have this Independence card right here. We have Sugar Maple, which says information, knowledge. And we have Wreath, sorrow over a loss. And I want to point out too that Temperance is 14, which in numerology reduces to 5. Sugar Maple is 32, which also reduces to 5. So 14, 32, or 5 could be important, but 5 also indicates a change. So that's also like, this could be a bigger change on the left here than on the right. So what else do you need to know about taking the first path? Well, there's more confirmation here of some of the things we've already spoken about. There would be a sense of loss, some sadness around that. 5 of Cups and this wreath. You know, actually with the wreath, it does say sorrow over a loss, but I also do see hope and beauty and things coming full circle. And there's that circle feeling again. And a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. So I think that there's initial sorrow, but then these other energies come in. This path seems to offer you some healing, some peace and some clarity. This Temperance card is really making me think those things. I think you develop a deeper understanding of yourself. I mean, look at this Buddhist figure meditating. And you might develop a deeper understanding of the thing that you left behind. You might be more spiritually connected, although I did kind of feel possibly some religious energy. So it could be if you're leaving behind a religion, you become more like spiritual versus religious. Or if you were never religious, maybe you become religious or spiritual. But you seem to be more spiritually connected, whether or not that's something you believe in, and more in tune with yourself and with your inner world. And it does seem like you would be healing some things, either long-held patterns, beliefs around relationships or around the world, or things that may have held you back or been in the background. Like, it seems like you just develop a deeper understanding that will enhance your level of clarity and knowing in general. And that, again, this would be a transformative path for you. I think you would change through this path, or you would get closer to yourself. Yeah, you definitely understand yourself better. Even if you feel like you already do, more understanding would come. And there could be a spiritual awakening for this group where the limitations of society would sort of drop away. And you understand things on a clearer, deeper level where it all kind of stops making sense and then it all makes more sense. And that might not even make sense that I said that, but that's okay. So there is a freedom here. And of course, like I've said many times, in independence, and of course this card says independence. So I do think you would learn to take better care of yourself than you ever have before. You would learn on a greater level what your needs and your desires are and how to reach them. And for some of you, it's like you won't have as many voices making their opinions heard. Like, you'll be able to think more clearly because you're either spending more time alone. Well, I definitely think you'd be spending more time alone with this group, even if you are around people sometimes. So you have more time to consider and to think and to sit and to be in tune with yourself and what's around you. And so it allows for a greater clarity of thought. And I think over here, maybe there's more energy of, well, we'll get to it, but there might be more people involved over here, and there's more aloneness involved over here. And again, it could be because this Two of Coins is also making me think that some people here are leaving a relationship or relationships behind. And so if that's the case for you, I don't even sense loneliness per se. There might be a little bit, especially in the beginning, but more aloneness. I think there are things you maybe always wanted to do that you will accomplish, or things you wondered about that you will get clarity on. You could get a pet. I mean, we have the cat in this independence card, and we have these little like flying dragons and this bird. So you might spend more time around animals or get a pet, or you might be more in tune with the natural world or spend more time outside or just exploring. You may just be exploring your mind or your internal world. And yeah, it could feel a little bit lonelier sometimes. And I do think that would drop away as you get closer to yourself and as you realize more about who you really are. And then that can take you in possibly pretty unexpected directions. Like, you could realize you have skills you never knew you had, and you definitely seem to become like you're becoming stronger and more capable than ever before. And so while I do see a lot of good here, it does seem like a slightly lonelier path. And, that energy may not last, but I do want to say it. So let's now look over here on the right to choice 2, or the second path. And this was the path where it looked more like you're thinking about changing yourself, but staying in the situation. So let's see how this path will affect you in the short term. So in the short term, we have the 9 of Pentacles. And honestly, this looks pretty good. So short term, this path looks happier. I mean, short term, which one would you rather have? But of course, we want to look at long term too. But short term, if you stay where you are and you're just changing yourself, you it looks like you feel grateful for what you have. You know, the Nine of Pentacles can be generous, but also like kind of like surrounded by lovely things. And you also seem to like be willing to give it what you've got. The results look positive. There's more abundance or prosperity here, or like, you know, I wonder if you're in a relationship or you're in a job or whatever, where if you're thinking about changing your mindset or something, or your behaviors, this does provide like security and safety and a feeling of comfort and being taken care of, and like maybe having more money at first. And I think I maybe said this, but there is some childlike playful energy here. I mean, this looks like a kid, and there's a lot of adult energy over here. So I wonder if there's more ability short term to like kind of feel playful and light. And yeah, but that could also be because like change can be so jarring, especially big change. And if what you're currently dealing with isn't the best, it is still comfortable and familiar, right? So basically you have all of what you did before because you're not leaving it behind, and you didn't lose anything right away with this choice. So you definitely feel more grounded and safe and secure. And the red is really making me think root chakra, which is also giving me those vibes. But it does feel lighter, but it also feels steadier and more grounded. It feels like you feel more okay in the short term if you choose this path, like no huge changes or shakeups. And with whatever changes you're making with your boundaries, your thoughts or your reactions, it certainly feels pretty good in the short term. Although it's possible that in the short term, you haven't made these changes yet, which is why it's like easier. I don't know. But you definitely have to change up how you feel and think and act in this situation, because otherwise I think it will be kind of negative. So maybe this is saying that you are changing those things and they're going well right away. So the short-term effects look pretty positive. And if we look at how this choice affects you in the long term, we have the King of Cups, which on the surface also feels pretty positive, honestly. So it looks like you're feeling like you're acting and being more emotionally mature. And that makes sense. If you're setting boundaries or changing your thoughts or reactions, you're probably feeling like you're doing things to increase your maturity or your wisdom, or you're just feeling kind of better about yourself and more in tune with your feelings, with this being a Cups card. And it does seem like you're honoring your feelings and honoring your emotions. And yeah, this shows you having clear and well-tended emotional boundaries, because the King of Cups is like so emotionally mature and like has really good boundaries and like doesn't allow like chaos to interfere with his, you know, internal or external world. And so I think that you feel like really emotionally healthy in the long term, that you feel emotionally mature, that you are more in tune with even your personal power, because the yellow here is making me think about the solar plexus chakra, and that can be about confidence and personal power. And yeah, so I think you're maybe feeling more self-confident, more powerful, more certain in yourself and your reactions. And again, like with the short term, I get grateful energy. And then there's also so much red here again, which is stability and security. And it also feels like somehow you're feeling pretty successful. Maybe because of the changes that you made, that feels like it has gone successfully. And you feel like you have energy and things to give without giving too much, because feels like maybe you were always giving too much, but he's just got this one cup he's offering now. And like a lot of his giving is to himself. Like he is, I'm not saying you're a he, but I'm just saying he because it's the King of Cups, but he's like decorated. He's got beautiful surroundings. He's clothed himself beautifully. He's given a lot to himself, but he does still have something to give. And he's offering this little cup to someone else. So you have more balance when it comes to give and take and self-love and self-respect and all of that stuff. And I think if you make these changes that you're thinking about making long-term, you will feel like you can give from a full cup, and you give what you feel comfortable giving, and you don't overgive, you don't overextend yourself. And I think maybe you have been. And so this would change as long as you really do change your reactions and your boundaries and your thoughts and stuff. And you might feel more taken care of in the realm of like money, because again, the red is making you think root chakra, but also because you're like dressed so well in this image. And so there is some security definitely in this choice, and self-appreciation, self-approval, and self-love. So then we'll look at the 10 of Pentacles. This is, there's a hair here. Let me get it out of the way. So this 10 of Pentacles is what the overall pros will be. And this looks pretty good too, right? This is feeling abundant, prosperous, having your needs taken care of. Looks like wealth, having everything you want in the material realm or the physical realm, feeling protected and safe. And also because like, it looks like you're riding on this, giant tiger who's like keeping you safe, and like, I don't know, it feels like you have really good boundaries. And I think, and someone could be like paying you a lot of money or paying the bills, or you're just doing well in this aspect of things. And you feel taken care of. So those are definitely pros of this choice. So it seems to revolve around feeling secure, safe, protected, taken care of, having your needs taken care of, feeling physically well, or even being dressed really well, having a nice home possibly. That's about all I see with this card. It's pretty simple. So then let's take a look at what the overall cons will be. So the cons of this choice. We have the Queen of Wands. Interesting. So this sort of feels like it feels like your light is being dimmed a little bit, which is a weird thing to say because the Queen of Wands is like not that way at all. But I sort of feel like with her being sort of hunched over and these colors being sort of muted and these other people here, I don't know. It's like, okay, so what we saw in this other choice, the first path, it was like a certain level of freedom and independence that is not present here, because does she look like she's independent? She's depending on these two people to help her is what it looks like to me. And it reminds me of like, when someone like really rich is like, I'm so independent. I'm radically independent, but like they have a million people doing stuff for them. So it's like, no, you're not. I'm not saying this is you in this choice, but it's giving me some of that energy where like choice 1 is freedom and independence. Choice 2, not necessarily, but that's not necessarily either like a bad thing. Okay. That might be totally okay, because how nice is it for people to be doing stuff for you or having like more money and more ease and like, but I do think there's more reliance on other people. There was self-reliance over here. And then I did see some self-reliance with the King of Cups, but I wonder if that will come and go if you choose this choice, and that like you might have to rely on or include people in all your plans or in your day-to-day. Either like people are doing things for you, or you have to always include people and you don't get that same like time for like self-reflection. So I do think with this choice, with this second choice, you do learn less about yourself or how to take care of yourself. And that is not necessarily a problem at all. Like feeling safe and taken care of is wonderful, and it can feel a lot easier. It's a lot less work. It could be really nice. It's just, these are different paths, and I'm not necessarily seeing right away that one is better than the other, but it just depends on what you want and what feels good to you. But in this second path here, it does feel like you're sort of a product of the people or the environment you're in, versus this other choice of finding your true self. And so This one does seem to feel more comfortable. At least this one's not as comfortable in the beginning, but this one is maybe a more comfortable lifestyle, and certainly an easier lifestyle. It has more of a secureness to it. You might grow old like this Queen of Wands without ever knowing where another path would have taken you. And that is coming through as a negative because we asked about the cons. So you might always wonder, what if I had done that? But, it depends on you. It depends on your circumstances, what you want and what you need and what your soul is calling for. And it's kind of like independence and freedom, or, security and comfort. It kind of feels like that right now. And I do also want to mention that like outcomes can always change. This is just the current energy of these outcomes. And so there is the good and bad of this choice. There's the good and bad of this choice. And there's not a clear winner as far as I am seeing. But we have one more question to look at, which is in choice 2, what else you need to know about this path. And so we have the Page of Swords. We have this Guardian card. We have Altar Water, Ritual, Renewal, and we have Stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity, which is again making me think about making more money. But interestingly, when we look at the numbers of these cards, we have 41, which again, in numerology, reduces to 5, just like it did over here. So there is change here. It may not be as drastic. It may not be as much, but there is change. And I think that if you do enact change where you are right now, you will have all these positive effects. So there's also, what I want to say is like, if you don't take this path and if you don't change in this path and you just like stay in this path without change, I don't think you're going to be happy. So I do think you need to change something because there's a lot of change energy here in this path. In choice number 2 over here on the right, you may feel like you don't get to make as many of your own decisions as you would like. There is a bit of a feeling of frustration and annoyance that comes up for me with that. You don't get to fully stand on your own like you do over here, and that might be okay. Like it does look like, he's standing on his own, but it doesn't feel, he doesn't seem to have power. His sword is behind him. You know what I mean? And it's a page. I don't think you'll discover as many new things about yourself and life. This path you will, this path you may not. But if you're making changes to the way that you act and you think in this situation over here, it does allow you a slightly greater sense of autonomy. So there is a little bit more autonomy here, but I do feel more anger that sort of lives under the surface. Over here, I think you're dealing with your emotions and things like that, but also maybe there's less anger with this choice. There is some frustration, some annoyance, and some anger over here. It may just be kind of under the surface, but this path seems to offer you opportunities and support in prosperity, having more relationships. It is a less lonely path, but it could be more angering at times. And this altar water, this is not alcohol. It is altar water. But every time I look at this card, I think it is alcohol. And it looks like it. Like, doesn't this look like an alcohol bottle? Like, it looks like a tequila bottle or something. But I am getting the taste of vodka. I'm also getting the taste of gin in my mouth. So it's making me wonder if either someone close to you has a drinking problem if you stay in this path with these people, or you could end up relying a bit on alcohol because there's some anger under the surface, or you could rely on something similar that would like drown out your frustrations a little bit. Or if the people that you are with on this path are ones where you do drink together more. So that's just something that I want to mention. It does seem like with this path, you are not allowed to have your own privacy. I mean, with the Queen of Wands, but also with this Guardian card, it feels like you don't have as much privacy. There is privacy over here. There are private thoughts. I don't think you get to have secrets, and maybe that's fine. Like, I don't think people need to have secrets necessarily, but like, if you're like, I don't want everyone to know this thing, it feels like everyone's going to know that thing, And at the same time, there is more camaraderie and there's more company and there's more comfort. Like he seems to be warning this hedgehog off, but the hedgehog doesn't even look like, I mean, yeah, it's got the spikes and stuff like that, but it doesn't even seem that bad. So I don't know, maybe you just get in your head about things and you just feel frustrated with the people around you, even when they're not doing anything to harm you. But there, like I said, there's more company. There are more like friendships or people around you that does bring a level of comfort. And this does feel like the easier path for sure. And that makes sense too. If you're just changing some aspects about how you relate to a path you're already in versus changing your entire life, of course, it's going to be easier to just change a few things about yourself. It's really about what's most important to you, what you are or are not ready for, what you really want in life, because I don't see you making a wrong decision. If you do this or you do this, it's not wrong. It's just a path. And I really do see you as a strong person. Maybe you have a strong personality or you're just internally very strong no matter what you do. And you seem to be a very intelligent person. I think that no matter what you do have a rich inner world that just might come out more here or be more understood over here. But these do seem to be qualities that you have. You know, if you choose one path, it's not that you can't turn around and choose the other one or a different one. I don't think you're stuck either way. And so when it comes to outcomes, like I said before, the outcome can always change based on energy. This is only how it looks right now. That could change. And maybe there is another path that includes both of these energies. You know, you have a choice. But group one, I do think that's all. So I really hope that this was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I will see you again soon. Bye. Hi, group two. Welcome to your reading. You chose the red jasper and this Two of Pentacles from the Desert Illuminations Tarot. I did already pull your cards, as you can see. So I'm going to set this aside, actually. You know what? We need the Two of Pentacles. So to remind you, we are looking at the outcome of two choices, two paths, two decisions that you are torn between. And after I lay out these cards, I am going to give you a brief overview of each of these choices. This should act as an energy check and a confirmation of your group. And then we will look at choice one more in depth. We'll get into the short and long-term effects, the pros and cons of this choice, and then we will do the same with choice two. I was going to lay out these cards with you on camera so that you could see each card individually, but you'll see them. And as I was setting this up, as I told group one, I realized that was going to take too long to do it on camera. So I thought it would be a better use of your time to get straight into the reading. And I'm going to lay out your cards now, and we will get straight into it. Okay, so we have choice one over here on the left. We have choice two over here on the right. And we're going to take a look at both of these choices as sort of an energy check to make sure that this is for you and to sort of lay out which side is which. So choice one looks right away actually sort of similar to group one's energy. So if this isn't fully relating, but kind of, you might want to check out group one. But it looks like group one in the sense that it does look like you're setting off on your own in a way, trying something new. And choice two looks like trying to make something work that you're already involved in. So that's how it's similar to group one. But it does feel different here. Like with choice one here on the left, you are seeking freedom, but you seem to want to start something new, like a new career or a project that would potentially make you money. Or you might be wanting to do something like just that's more aligned with you and your joy and your creativity, but unsure if it would make you money. You may want to start your own business. You may want to try something brand new or go against the rules and restrictions that you have been living with. This does feel like a little bit of a rebellious choice. And with choice two over here, choice two feels more familiar. And you're wondering if you need to push through to get to a place that feels happier. So it does feel like for this group, a lot of you here, this could be about work or making money or a job. And so this could be like a workplace or it doesn't have to be. But it could even be like your family or feeling like you want to break free from their expectations and wondering if it's wiser to just work with them and fix the things that are broken. Or it could be a different relationship outside of family or a group of people. Anything where you've been wondering if it's better to stick it out and work on it or try something totally new and go against the limitations that you feel you've been working under. And actually, to be honest with you, are you even trying to choose between these two things? Like, I'm getting this energy where I think this group wants to choose this first choice on the left, and you're kind of unsure if it's going to work out. So you feel like you may be stuck in this other choice, or you are ready to go out on your own and do something new, but there's a little hesitation. And we're just meant to find out if you should do that or not. Or you're just planning to do this and you're already over this and you're like, I'm just going to go do this. Like, it doesn't even feel like you're really considering staying here long term, but I don't know. So let's dive a little deeper into this choice on the left here, this path where you may be setting out to do something new. So let's take a look at how this path will affect you in the short term. And we have the Ace of Swords. So again, this does look rebellious to me, but also the Ace of Swords can point to success. So in the short term, you could feel like this really was the right decision. There's a feeling of excitement, potential, hope, happiness, choosing yourself, choosing what is in alignment with your desires, with your needs, with your intuition. This open eye is making me think about that. And also because we have the eye here, which we will get to, but it's about trusting your intuition and your psychic ability. So in the short term, you could really feel like it felt good to take a decisive action, especially one where you are taking care of yourself and choosing yourself and choosing what you really want, feeling like I did it. You know, you're feeling proud of yourself, feeling like there is unlimited potential for you. You know, with this eye, actually, there is also a bit of a feeling of anxiety for me of like, what did I do? Worrying that you made the wrong choice. And it may not be constant. Like, it just may be in moments like you're trying to fall asleep and you're like, oh God, what did I do? What did I do? And then like during the day, you're like, yay, like a freedom, baby. But there is a little bit of fear about the future, about your security, maybe about what this choice will bring. So there's this like duality between feeling really confident in yourself and in your choice, and then worry and anxiety about what's going to happen now. But with the sun here, this is how this path will affect you in the long term. And this looks amazing. You know, who doesn't want the sun? So we have the sun here, which can be happiness, joy, vitality, health, well-being. This one especially looks like positive growth. We've got this corn here growing, and things are growing to fruition and having abundance. And because is it blue corn? It's like purple, but I think it's called blue corn. It's like unusual. The way you seem to be dressed is unusual. But, you know, it does seem like abundance would come long-term. Things would work out long-term. You would manifest your desired outcome. But with how unusual it is, it does seem like it differs somewhat from what you might have originally envisioned this was going to be. I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it. But it does look like you've transformed. And while this is a new beginning, you seem to be in a new cycle and you're a new you in a way. If we look at 19, it reduces to 1 in numerology, which could be a fresh start. You definitely seem to, I don't know, with this path, it seems like you develop new interests or you discover new things. You might have a new style with these clothes or a way of expressing yourself, or you find that you like new things or things you didn't expect to like. You seem to be exposed to new ways of life that previously were not available to you. And for some reason, it feels like maybe you judged something in the past, or you currently judge like a group of people or a sense of style or something like that. It's like, but in the long-term future, something that you judged becomes something that you understand, accept, and embrace. Like, you're like, I love this now. Like, I don't know why I judged it before. Maybe you didn't like the beliefs of a certain group of people, and now you've opened your mind and you have taken on some of those beliefs, or you judged a certain style and now you wear those clothes, or you decorate your home that way, something like that. And there is fulfillment here with the Sun, having all that you could want, feeling like you're living a happy and exciting life, being playful and childlike, and feeling abundant, taken care of, like you're able to provide for yourself, or you feel the universe is providing for you. But yeah, I keep just getting this feeling that you're opening up to things you previously judged or you didn't like, and you're surprised at yourself for embracing them. And somehow that comes through choosing this path. So far, this path looks pretty good. So let's look some more at what the overall pros, so the positives of choosing this path will be. I just realized I forgot to look for nudity. I think we're good. I mean, this is an alien, so I don't think I need to cover it. But this page of cactus is the page of pentacles. And this, again, points to abundance, making money, moving into possibly a new career, a new job, or starting a new project, or just maybe just a way of life. There is a new beginning for you. The page can be about new beginnings. This beginning would have you learning new things, putting new things into practice, finding a new way to have security and balance. But also it feels like, again, it's like a totally unique way of bringing those things in. I mean, yes, this card has aliens in it, especially in the Pentacles suit, as you can see here. But because this page of Pentacles is an alien, and like the Pentacles suit can often feel like someone who doesn't necessarily take huge risks, but you know, we have this unusual page of Pentacles who is an alien. And so it's making me think that while you may be bringing in security and abundance, you are doing it in an unusual way and a unique way. And either this is something you already have known that you wanted to do, that you already know is kind of outside of the norm, or just by walking in this direction away from this and toward this path, you end up surprising yourself by finding something totally new and different. And it's not even what you originally intended as you started walking this path. Either you become more unusual, or something about your path becomes more unusual, and it is defined by different interests or hobbies, even different values or beliefs, or you find something that takes you away from where you once were, but still provides security and a place to land. But also, because these are the pros, and this is the page of Pentacles, I do want to say that it's possible, like, you know, if you're leaving a job and starting anew, you will make money and you'll have that, but it could be smaller than it was over here, or it could be smaller at first. So that's something I want to mention as well. But it does seem more closely aligned with who you are, who you're becoming, and it's more unique, it's more individual, it's more you. So let's look at what the overall cons or the negatives of this choice would be. And we have the Three of Wands here. So what I'll say with this card is the cons to this path on the left might be that it's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to necessarily happen as quickly as you want it to. It does feel like there's some waiting for the ships to come in, especially because normally on the Three of Wands, this figure is watching like the ships off, you know, in the distance. So it does feel like you're waiting, and that you're waiting for things to work out and to come to you and to make sense, and for this to have been the correct path to choose, and you're waiting and waiting before it arrives. So it can feel frustrating to not have what you want be reality, even though you could sense that it could be or will be. And like maybe you're a manifester and you've been manifesting, but you're not seeing it come to fruition right away. And so that could be pretty frustrating. You may feel like you've opened up to this bounty, that you are ready, that you've done what you need to do, that you've made the decisions, and you've taken the path, and yet it's not coming in as fast as you want it to. And it feels like you're saying, Like, I'm ready though. How much longer do I have to wait? And I don't know the answer to that question, but it's longer than you would like to wait. That's for sure. And it might not be a really long time, but of course, you probably want things to happen immediately. Don't we all? We all live in this world where we get things quickly and now we want them quickly. But it also doesn't feel like it's crazy long. Like, you might feel like you're doing everything to welcome in this happy future, but it just takes its damn time. Okay. And so that is a con over here. But what else do you need to know about this path on the left? And we have, I don't need to pick all of these up right now. We have the trickster, which is the fool. Actually, we have this spread your wings card. We have monkey ball, which says weight, rigidity. And we have I, psychic ability, trust your intuition. And we have the number 44 here, which numerology reduces to 8, which can be a number of abundance. So again, that is pointing to abundance on this path. And also, when I look at monkey ball, I keep seeing money ball. And like, I do think there is money involved in this path. So if you're like worried that you would never make any money, it does seem like you would, at least eventually. It's interesting to me, though, that the fool in this deck is the trickster. I have another deck where it's the trickster, but it's the devil. So that is interesting. And it's making me think, again, that you're getting something different than you expected. And I don't think that's a bad thing. But like, things will go a little bit differently than you anticipated with this path. But there is a happy transformation here. And it's like you become something or someone you didn't see yourself becoming, and it's a good thing. And that part of it would happen, I think, pretty naturally. I don't know. There's also like a rushed, almost manic energy that's been coming through in this whole group of like, you might be making this choice prematurely, or you're rushing into it, or you want to rush into it because you'd much rather feel this way than you would feel that way. But it feels too quick to me. And so if that is the case, if you're relating to that, the I card here, this is a reminder to tap into your intuition. I think it's reminding you to slow down, and also like to consider what you really need, like financially or otherwise, in order to walk this path, because I don't know, it just feels like you're moving too quickly, or you want to move too quickly. And also with the fool, again, the fool usually has a stick that it is holding with a handkerchief tied to it that contains like what is needed for the journey. And it's not a lot, but it is what is needed. And this fool does not have that. So I think that there's a warning here, is really what's coming through, is that there's a warning not to jump the gun too soon, or to jump off that cliff without looking first, because the fool often talks about calculated risks, and this fool has not calculated the risk. It doesn't have, like, normally there's also another like an animal or another figure or a dog in this card that's also like, be careful. That's not here either. So I think there's this energy of wanting to like take the leap, but you haven't planned it out enough. And I mean, I don't know. That's just what's coming through. I'm not trying to be like, I don't know. I'm not trying to insult you. I think you really need to consider what you need, and in order to walk this path. And I think that it does come around like savings or money or something like that. And I don't know. I think that you need to take the risk in a more calculated way, and that this risk is going to be okay for you to take when the time is right. But timing could be important, or, you know, you just really need to ensure that you have your needs taken care of before you take this leap. And again, like, you might not need a lot, but you need more than what you already have. Like, I don't think you're ready to do this quite yet, even if you're very mentally ready. Also, man, I can't stop looking at this fool. The way this fool's legs are bound, you know, it's probably meant to be like decorative in this deck, but it's feeling to me like what I keep hearing is your hands are tied, meaning that your hands are still bound up in something else. I don't think you're ready to take this leap today, tomorrow, next week. You're not ready yet. And even, again, I think you might be very mentally ready, very emotionally ready, but you're not maybe physically or financially ready, or there is a timing aspect here and you're meant to wait even if you don't want to. I think you really want to. And while it does look good and there are positives here, there is a lot of caution coming in. So if you're leaving a job, for example, do you have enough savings to go for a while if you need to? Because I don't think you're going to make money right away at this. Do you have things lined up to protect yourself? So it's great that you're dreaming, but are you also being realistic? And I'm not saying that you can't leap and make something beautiful happen. I definitely think you can. This is a risk that I think will pan out when the time is right. But if you go too far too fast, that's going to bring you challenges that you may not be prepared for, and that may make things a lot harder on you. Also, with this card making me think about money, the fact that it says weight and rigidity, it does feel, again, like money could be a binding factor for you. So you are meant to spread your wings. But even the person on this card looks like she's being cautious before flying off. And, you know, there are so many butterflies. We have butterflies here and butterflies here. And they're really standing out to me. And I think that that is a wonderful sign that this path is for you when the time is right. That this change is for you. That you are meant to trust yourself, your intuitive nudges, and what is right for you. And you're meant to trust your wants and your desire for freedom and creativity and all the rest. But you just might need to plan a little bit more first. So let's go to choice 2. Okay. So this path over here on the right was more about staying where you are, even if it's not what you want or what you are planning to do. Let's look at how this path will affect you in the short term with the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands sometimes for me can be about like having done something really uncomfortable for so long, but you're used to doing it. And you may not even want to anymore. You may be really tired. It's taken a lot out of you. It may have affected your health. And this particular 9 of Wands is making me think about you being stuck in something you don't really want to be doing anymore, but it is what you're used to. It's what you know, and there's a security in that. But I do think you're ready to feel something different. I mean, obviously, but you know, I do think you might be tired. I mean, her eyes are closed. She's like resting on this pottery, and you could have health things cropping up, or you may be just more drained because this path is exhausting. And it's like, she looks like she's daydreaming about another life, you know? Another way, something more exciting and something more you. And you may even be wanting to do something creative. I have been getting creative energy a lot with this group, but the woman in this card is holding her face to this pottery, and it's making me think about you holding a dream in your imagination and in your thoughts in your head. And it feels like a longing and a desire to do something that feels more comforting. It almost feels like, like this looks like, you know, the Southwest. It's hot as hell. I mean, you know, not a cloud in the sky. It looks so hot. And like, she's wearing, this outfit that like covers up so much of her arms. Like, it feels like she's really hot, and then this pottery might be really cool. And so it feels like you want that soothing feeling of something different and something less oppressive, something new and cool, and you want change. You know, the way this path affects you in the short term is that you're kind of doing the same thing you've been doing, longing for a change, longing for something that feels more right and more you, and like a relief from the toil of every day. So in the short term, I think you're just feeling the same things you have been feeling, which makes a lot of sense to me. But how will this path affect you in the long term? We have the 6 of Swords. And I think that you will absolutely reach a point where you cannot do it anymore, and you will absolutely go in the direction of your goals. You'll move in the direction of the great unknown. And, you know, if you stick this out a little longer and you plan, you won't be the fool that we see in the first choice, because this fool doesn't have anything. Remember, But in this Six of Swords, you have a car, and like you have like this Fool just has decoration. You have actually like you have clothes and you have a trunk where you can put stuff in it. And I feel like this trunk is filled with things that you need, and you're even more prepared than the Fool is normally prepared. And this headscarf, I think, is like protecting you from the sun because it's beating down on you, and you have a convertible. So you're like taking a risk, but you have a little bit of protection. You're a little bit more prepared, and you are still open to the elements because you're in this convertible. And so there are things that could still like affect you, but you're just more prepared. So if you stick with this longer and you prepare, you're going to be more ready to go toward this path. And I think that also with the convertible, it tells me that you're open to what's coming and what will happen. But you are also still exposed to a degree. So you may never be able to stockpile enough cash or money, for example, that you would be okay no matter what happens. But more likely, you'll have enough to feel like it's okay if things take a little time. And again, like I said before, you're not just emotionally and mentally ready, you're physically ready if you stay here longer. And I definitely do not think that you're going to stay where you are forever. It just doesn't seem likely at all. You're choice one bound. And I think it's just more of a matter of timing, like I said. But let's look at what the overall pros or the positives to staying will be. We have the Nine of Swords. So, again, this is leading me to believe that this just isn't for you, and eventually you will be over here. But if we look at a positive, in a way, okay, it looks like that you're becoming more comfortable with your feelings around this second path, or this one where you stay. Like you seem to be more in tune with yourself and not allowing the external to control you. So whether that is people in your life or in your workplace, the demands or rules that are placed on you, whatever it is happening externally, the longer that you stay in this, the more freedom you find internally despite the happenings around you. And so there is a pro here because you do find more internal peace and freedom, which also will benefit you in this other path when you take it. Because look at how at peace she looks, despite this like skeleton demon thing, like throwing swords at her, And normally in the Nine of Swords, the person does not look peaceful, And so I think that you also may be able to better plan and think through things because it looks like she's just ignoring what's happening and just like thinking through things and being in touch with her intuition and her feelings. And, as things are externally not to your liking, because who wants that happening when they're in bed, but things may not be what you want. But a positive is you getting more and more in touch with your intuition, which will also help you, I think, plan for this path and know when the timing is right. So again, this is the happy path. And I know this one's not very happy. I'm not going to pretend that it's a path of joy, but it's not all bad while it lasts, and it will not last forever. And there are things that could help you while you are in this path that will basically help you on this other path of going somewhere else. But then let's look at, I think we already know what the cons are, but let's look at the cons or the overall negatives of this path. We have the Page of Cups here. And what an interesting Page of Cups. But the overall cons, I think, would be pretending things are fine when they're really not. And you hate it. There's no other way to say it. You hate doing this, and that's fine. It makes sense that you hate it. But this page, I think this is a he has his hands on the wrong side of the gun, right? Which feels dangerous to me. And it's giving me this really very dramatic vibe. Really dramatic. I'm this close to being done with all of this. And Even though he's got this kind of calm face, it's this internal feeling of like, I'm over this shit, And so his face makes me feel just like he's so over it. He's so ready to be done, but he's having to pretend that everything is fine. Everything is rainbows, because you have to keep up this facade in some way with this path that you're currently in. And also the jug with this overflowing rainbow feels like it's your dream and like it's getting away from you while you toil away at this place that you're just like completely over, that you don't want to be a part of anymore. So the cons of this path are exactly what I would have expected. You don't want to be doing this. It feels constraining to you. It feels exhausting. It feels like you don't get to be who you really are, or you don't get to have the experience of life that you're dreaming of, and that you have this worry that you're never going to make it over here the longer you stay in this. And I don't think that's the case, but it may feel that way. And so that may also exhaust you. So it just feels like overall, it just feels kind of unhappy over here. You're over it. You don't want to do it anymore. You don't want to have to plan. You just want to be over here. And I don't blame you. But what else do you need to know about this path? We have the Three of Pentacles. We have this misadventure card. We have abandoned plantation, dismantling, ugly truths, and then hills, obstacles to overcome. I honestly feel like we already have all the answers you need. Like, we've covered everything, but we do need to see what else is here because we pulled the cards and there might be more information. So with this Hills card, with obstacles to overcome, we see like what are essentially mountains that you need to climb. And it can feel like this path is hard and not fun and it's too long. And while it says hills, they look more like mountains to me. So it probably feels like you're just toiling away at something that is much harder than you want to be toiling away at. And you didn't want to do it in the first place, maybe. And it's like to get to this sun in the background, which is, we have this sun, which is where you want to be. And so we see the sun here. And to get to it, you have to climb all of these mountains. And look how many there are. It's like, I don't want to do this. And you have to go through the annoyance of this to get there. And it just feels exhausting, overwhelming, or like it's going to take too long. You just don't want to do it. And listen, I've been there. I get it. Okay. But with misadventure here, again, it feels like you feel trapped. I mean, look at her. She's stuck in this glass jar. Honestly, it's turned over. I was going to say, it doesn't even look like it has a lid and she has wings so she could fly out of it. So maybe even though now I can see that she is trapped, it may feel like you're more trapped than you are. That's kind of what I'm getting from that. Like, you definitely feel trapped. That is a real feeling. You feel stuck, and like in some senses you are, but also like, I do think that there is a freedom available internally if you can like allow yourself to get to a place of calm and peace and work on changing your thoughts around this instead of just being frustrated with the situation that you're in. But also in misadventure, with you being trapped, like, you can see what you want because the glass is clear, but you can't yet reach it. And even here in the Three of Pentacles, it feels that way too. Like, it feels like you want to go back to the mothership, like the spaceship over here. It's your feeling of home and comfort and freedom, because also like you're unique and different and weird. So like, in these cards, your home is a spaceship, but, and I'm not saying like you're weird in a bad way. You're weird in a good way. Okay. But, it's like, this is where comfort is. That's where freedom is. That's where a feeling of home and like you being yourself is. But you're stuck here with these other people, just knowing it's right there and you can't go there yet. And, like the same way that you see here, it's just like, I can see it. I can see it. Why can't I go there yet? And when we're talking about like home, here's a home right here in abandoned plantation, but it's on this side, the side you don't like. And so this abandoned plantation is certainly not the home that you want. It's falling apart. It looks like there's blood on these columns. It's in disrepair. It's barren. It's sort of boarded up. Like, sure, it's shelter, but it's not the shelter you want. It's like the most basic shelter or security or support, but and like it's big, like you have all this room, you might have a lot more security or prosperity with this choice, but it's not pretty, it's not comfortable, it's not homey or warm, it's not what you want, and it's not what you feel like you deserve. It's just not right for you. So this path here on the right seems to have a level of not just discomfort and a feeling of being trapped, but also feeling kind of anxious. There does seem to be anxiety over here. It feels oppressive. It feels stifling. It feels like you're not allowed to be your full self, or your authentic self would not be accepted in this path. And that somehow you're supposed to feel grateful for this life, but of course you don't. But you might want to it might be helpful to feel grateful for what you do have while you have it, but that's up to you. But I'm going to say this again. It makes sense that you're drawn to this choice here on the left, the first choice, that you are seeking freedom, creative expression, and everything else that comes with this path. And it feels safe to say that you are destined for this path and for this life as long as you want it. But you may need to stick out the current circumstances for a while longer. And I'm sorry, because that's not what you want to hear. And it's not what I would want to hear. But I really think that's it, group 2. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please let me know by hitting the like button or leaving a comment if you so desire. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I will see you again soon. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the blue goldstone and this 2 of Pentacles from the Pagan Tarot. I did already draw your cards, as you can see. So I am going to set this deck aside and keep it nearby in case we need any clarifying cards. But we are looking at the outcome of 2 choices today, 2 paths, 2 decisions that you may be torn between. And after I lay out these cards, I'm going to give you a brief overview of each of these choices. This should act as an energy check and a confirmation of your group. And then we will look at choice 1. We will get into the short and the long-term effects of choosing path 1 and the pros and cons of this choice. And then we'll do the same with the second choice on the right. And I was going to lay out these cards with you on camera, but when I was setting up, I realized it was going to take forever to do that, and that it would be a better use of your time to just get straight into the reading. So I'm going to lay these cards out now, and then we are going to get into the reading. Okay. So over here on the left, again, we have choice or path 1. Over here on the right, we have choice or path 2. And again, I am going to give you an overview of each of these choices so that we can make sure that you're in the right group. Okay. Let's take a look here at choice 1 on the left. Okay, group 3, are you trying to choose between 2 people? Because with the 2 of Pentacles, it certainly looks like you're choosing between 2 people, and some of these energies here look like that. So it looks like you're either choosing between 2 people, I think romantically, or between a tempting choice, the maybe more dangerous choice, or the path that leads you to your desires and passions being met, the riskier choice maybe. There is an energy of it possibly being a foolish choice, or you're worried it's a foolish choice, or people around you think it would be a foolish choice, or people around you maybe would just judge, and then it may come with issues of its own. Interesting that all of the groups so far, the left has felt more riskier. If you are choosing between 2 love interests, this one, choice 1, would be the one that you are maybe more attracted to, but this could also be someone who is love bombing or future faking. I can't tell for sure, but it might be the case. Or this person might have more like issues, or maybe even possibly addiction, or maybe they're less stable. But you also may feel unable to stop yourself with this person, like you, or with this choice, like you keep moving toward it despite your attempts not to, or you're very drawn to it magnetically. I also wonder if some people here have a religious upbringing and your family or your religion would be against this first choice or judge you for it. This could also be the path where you know you shouldn't, but you just can't help yourself. And maybe you're hoping that it's actually a good decision and not a bad one. And when we look at choice 2 over here on the right with this second path, this feels like the safer choice, the one that's more aligned with tradition possibly, or aligned with your family's values or religious values, or it's just maybe the more socially acceptable choice. It's the one where you're doing what you're told or you're supposed to do or you feel like you're supposed to do or what others want from you. It could also just be the choice that's more rooted in like responsibility. And there is support here for this choice. I don't know if there's as much support for this one. So this could also be like a longer, slower path, but it gets you to where you want to go. And you certainly seem to feel more supported in the second path. If you're choosing between people, again, between love interests or something, this is the more responsible, logical, trustworthy, loyal, maybe honest person. This person looks more supportive, or there is more support for being with this person. This person could be more kind, probably less exciting, maybe feels more like a friend than someone you have passion for. It may be who your family would want you to choose or who you feel like you should choose, but you're not as excited about this. But you wonder if you give it time that passion would kick in. So if this sounds like your group, let's dive a little bit deeper into choice 1 here on the left. And we will call this the tempting choice. Okay. So let's start with how this path will affect you in the short term. And we have the Emperor for that. So in the short term, it seems like you kind of get your way. It's what you wanted. You get what you're wanting out of this in the short term. I don't know about long term yet, but in the short term, you may feel like you have some power in the situation, or you at least had power of choice, but you might have more control in the short term, or it feels like you do. You may be taking the lead in some way, probably by making this choice, or in another way. It kind of feels like you're getting away with it. I don't know fully what you're getting away with, but that's what I heard. I'm getting away with it. So maybe at first no one realizes you even made this choice, or it's not public knowledge. So you're able to get away with it in that sense. So like maybe you're not being judged or anything because to everyone else it's business as usual. But also it sort of does feel like control is lurking around you, you know? Like if this is you, it feels like there's control here. Like this person's pointing this way. These people are in charge. So it does feel like there's still like control, and it does sort of feel like it's lurking. So either the person involved will have a say or will have more power or control over you, or the people in your life may try to exert control over you when they realize you've made this choice. But in the short term, it's like you have a secret. And on the outside, it is business as usual. And you seem to hold power in the short term, but it doesn't seem to last. And like, honestly, like if you were thinking this choice is really exciting, maybe it is, but it honestly doesn't even feel that exciting. It kind of just feels like you have a secret, or you're getting away with something, or you have the power of choice and you took control or something like that. But let's look at how this path will affect you in the long term. And for the long term, we do have the 9 of Cups, which is typically a pretty positive card. Let's take a look though. I think with this 9 of Cups and how this path affects you in the long term, I think you do have to keep up appearances long term. That's what I'm hearing, having to keep up appearances. That could be pretending you didn't even make this choice. Like if you kept it secret, you're having to continue to keep it secret, which could end up being a little stressful, or it's just that your lifestyle sort of stays the same and the people that seem to be over here maybe just don't judge you because you've been able to keep it secret. Or if this is a person over here that you're choosing, you sort of have to keep up your appearance in a way that may get a little bit tiring is what I'm feeling, because I'm wondering if the person over here is a little bit shallow or judgmental or just likes to be in control, or like you feel kind of like insecure. So you have to like keep up an appearance to keep their attention, or this person like wants things a certain way. And so you feel like you have to like kind of abide by that. And it's less about like, you know, if this is a romantic interest, if they're like, oh, I'm just like more attracted to people who wear this color. Like, I mean, that's probably not going to happen, but, and, you're like, oh, sure, I'll wear that color more often. It's more like with this person, they're like, ugh, it's so hideous when people wear this color. And so then you feel like you can't because they're not going to like you anymore and you want their approval. It's something like that. And you could be happy to oblige. I don't know. But, you know, also with this Nine of Cups, it's making me feel like some of your hobbies or your interests or the things that you used to spend time on are now in shadow, in the background, and don't get to be as big of a part of your life, but they're still like maybe in the foreground of your mind because they're up front here for us. I also feel like you might have to keep up appearances in the sense that, like I said, you need to keep this person interested because their eyes may easily wander, or you're afraid they'll leave if you take a misstep and you don't stay attractive in the ways they prefer or something like that, which I don't really love. And like I said, the Nine of Cups is typically a pretty positive card, but these cups, these 9 cups here on the shelf, they're making me think of trophies. And so what I'm thinking about is like this person you may be involved with or whatever this choice is. I don't know. It's like if there's a person, they maybe want a trophy on their arm, or they gather and collect people or things as trophies or as like toys and don't see them as like full, rich, complex human beings, or they don't have a level of empathy that you might want in a partner. But it can feel like, whether this is a person or something else on this side, that you may always be sort of in competition, and that you might even be in competition with an earlier version of yourself, because whether this is a person or maybe even a job that like love bombed you, and then you have to keep like competing with the earlier self that like got the love. Do you know what I'm saying? And so again, even if this path isn't a person, it still feels like you're in competition to keep your spot. And it may be a little bit exhausting. And there's all this like upkeep that you're constantly having to do in it. And as you're having to focus on things like this, other things that may be really important to you or may have been really important to you are getting kind of neglected or forgotten. And maybe you're okay with this. Maybe this doesn't sound like a bad thing to you, even though I don't like it. And maybe it doesn't scare you or make you feel uncomfortable. And you're like, that's fine. I don't know. But it does feel sort of exhausting. And like maybe you like competition. Maybe you like always striving to be your best in some way. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels kind of like tiring. It feels sort of exhausting. It feels like you're having to like, again, keep up appearances instead of being true to yourself. And so it looks like this path, well, and yeah, again, it feels like you're giving up your hobbies or your interests or something, like you're giving up art or learning or reading or other things that maybe have been important to you. And you have to like focus more on shallow pursuits or like keeping someone's interest or something like that. And so that's kind of how it affects you long term, which I don't really like. But again, I don't know if you care or not. But let's look at what the overall pros or the positives will be with this first path. And we have the Elemental of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. Oops, you know what? I forgot to cover her boobs here. I hope it's okay. Maybe I can blur it when I edit, but Anyway, with the Page of Swords here and the overall positives or the pros of this path, I definitely think you do feel attractive or more attractive. You may feel really wanted or seen in a way that is very exciting, maybe very new for you. There is a newness to this experience. It's like something you haven't felt before or felt in a long time. So for some of you, it's definitely feeling really attractive. Like you haven't felt attractive before, you haven't felt attractive in a while, or this attractive, or had someone be this attracted to you, or something like that. And maybe if this is a person, you feel really attractive to this person, or because you're doing something here that brings out a side of you that hasn't always been allowed to be present. It might not be feeling attractive. It might be feeling like you're tuned into a side of you that isn't necessarily allowed with this other path. You know, with her being nude, there is a vulnerability to this choice, but there also feels like a power that comes with it. There is a freedom, and so that is a positive, but I do want to say that I keep having this feeling that the freedom or the positives here are temporary. I don't know, it feels short term. I also feel like some people in this group, they may feel high on life, high on attention, high on attraction, or even high on something else. You know what I mean? And this is intoxicating. Something about this choice is very intoxicating, whatever this is. And this feeling that you have is something that you don't want to let go of or come down from. And while it's coming in as a pro to this path, we're looking at the positives. I do have this strong feeling that it's not going to last. I don't think the high is going to last. Yeah, and it's such quick moving energy. You know, the swords move so fast. So it feels like it moves really fast at first, but just as quickly it comes down, you come down, and there are problems, which we will get to. But if we look at what the overall cons, the negatives would be in this situation, okay, you know, I mean, with this hooded figure putting their hands over this woman's eyes, I can't help but think that you feel like you're not getting the full truth, or you weren't given the full truth and you continue to not get the full truth, even as things maybe come down from that high. And it feels like things are purposely being hidden from you and someone is trying to control you or control the narrative, which is not surprising based on the other control that I saw earlier. And even though you have these two swords that you could defend yourself with in this like protective position, you're not actually using them. They're kind of like falling to the side, and you're not using them to protect yourself against this person. It's like they're here for show. So it does feel again like you're sort of vulnerable, but you're vulnerable to this person or this company or this energy controlling or manipulating the situation, manipulating the truth, manipulating your thoughts about it. It definitely feels manipulative. It feels controlling. And even this lamp in the background is making me think of gaslighting. And the moon and it being night in this card is making me think that there are things being hidden from you. The unknown is at play here. There are illusions at play here. There's confusion. There's a lack of clarity. There's not knowing what's real, what's not, what's right, what's not. And like, I think that while it may have been flowers to start with, there's a lot here that's under the surface that's not as positive. And then I think that you may have gotten tricked a little bit, or things were manipulated, or things were said to be one way, but it turns out they're kind of another. But then it does feel like it's sort of under the surface, that you're maybe not always sure if you're right about this, and also if there are any substances involved for you that could also keep you under the control of this situation instead of having clarity. So honestly, based on everything I'm seeing here, I'm going to go ahead and caution you against choosing this path because it doesn't feel particularly positive or healthy. And it does feel really, really enticing, you know? I think the initial highs that come with it could keep you trapped in it for far longer than you should be and could be really detrimental to your health, whether that is mental, emotional, physical, or otherwise. I do think the highs are very temporary and the consequences could be more long-term for you. Like maybe even once you left this situation, if you did, you might be dealing with the consequences for a long time. So I don't like it. I don't want you to go this direction, but also like, I don't know you. Maybe this is right for you. But let's look at what else you need to know with this path, and then we will dive into the second path. So, you know, for what else you need to know, we have the Fool here. We have the Sweet Temptation card. We have Rose, which says love and sensuality. We have Inkpot, which says problems to be resolved. Also the 9, I've been noticing the numbers in these cards, and the 9 may point to an ending, but I do think that on the surface for choice 1, path 1, the one on the left, it does look pretty. It looks exciting. It feels like something that will have rewards or will give you dopamine hits. And it's tempting. It's tempting in a way that draws you in almost like a magnet. Like you have no choice but to move in this direction. It's pretty, it's sparkly, it's enticing, and it feels like a craving. That's what it feels like to me. Dude, like I don't trust this path at all. At all. It's like it's pretty on the outside and it's pretty at first glance, first appearances, and because maybe you're being manipulated. But inside it feels like it's rotting. Do you know what I mean? I feel love bombing, future faking. I am sensing false promises. There's surface level sparkle and then something not quite right on the inside. It's like it draws your attention. It draws you in. It feeds on what you want and what you need and what you crave. But then it doesn't, what's the word? I can't think of the word, of course, because I need it right now, but it doesn't give you what it promised. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. And it looks like initially it will feel really good or seem really good or really exciting, but relatively quickly, that is going to start going away and you're going to have to work way too hard to try to keep it. And it's always going to be slipping through your fingers. There are going to be problems you never realized were there. There are going to be messes that you will have to clean up that you didn't expect. That, I don't know, it's like the story with this pen and this ink pop. The story is not being written the way you hoped it would be. And it feels like there's childish or immature behavior here or punishment. Like if it is romantic, it can seem so romantic, so good, like all your dreams coming true, or like it's just so enticing that you can't help yourself. But below the surface, it is not that. It's fake. And you'll end up finding out stuff that wasn't what you thought. And if there's another person, if there is a person involved here, they don't even take you seriously. Like you're not taken seriously. I think that you're sort of like a pawn a little bit. Like if there is a person involved here or even a company or something like that, there is an immaturity here, a childishness here. It's not healthy. And they will lure you in with false promises and then you'll be stuck with the after effects, or you may have a really, really hard time escaping. Like I'm feeling very like with these strawberries, feels sticky, like you're stuck there and you can't move. Like I see you almost as like a fruit fly landing in like a puddle of fruit juice, but it's already started to dry because, you know, it's like it's too late. You can't get away and you could like, I don't think you would actually die here, but like, do you know what I mean? You'd end up there much longer than you could stuck. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like this path for you, but I can also feel the magnet. I feel the craving. I feel the sweet taste of it. And I feel like this inability to walk away or to look elsewhere or to like accept something else because there's this like almost need to pursue this path. And and a belief in the good side of it, or like wanting it so bad that you don't care or you can't even think clearly. What's that word? Limerence? It kind of feels like limerence, if you know what that is, which can be almost like it can sort of be like daydreaming so much about someone or something that like you can't see it clearly, or the reality of it. Like, there's something like that going on here, and I can really feel this pull, and like I want to move toward it. I want to look a little closer. I want to feel it. I can feel your energy, but I think there will definitely be really big regrets if you do this. Okay. And I'm not saying that this is going to be wonderful. We're going to look at it. Maybe it will be, but this, I don't like it. And I don't want you to go that way. And so I really wish that I could like put glasses on you so you can see it clearly, because you can't see it clearly right now. And I want to like take you away from it. But this is what's going on here. Let's look at this choice 2, which is the choice that, this might be the like safer or more acceptable feeling choice, or the more supported choice by at least like the people around you or something like that. Like, I'm not necessarily saying it's spiritually supported. It might be. Let's find out. So for choice 2, path 2, choice on the left here, how will this path affect you in the short term? Well, we have the 4 of Pentacles, which is much more safe and secure. No surprise there, right? But it does feel a little bit boring. It does feel a little bit like a chore. It doesn't feel very exciting. Like, this person, her clothes and the colors in this card are so bland and blah. She looks bored. She looks tired. She looks like a little bit lost in her head, or she's looking over here, like instead of paying attention to what she's doing. And, she's doing this grocery shopping, this errand, because she has to, I think, not because it's what she wants to be doing. She wants to be doing this. It kind of feels like, and again, like I'm saying she because it's a she, in this picture. You could be any gender, but it kind of feels like she's looking off at something more exciting and wondering like, what if, she's wearing all of these layers. It doesn't feel very sexy, this way this other choice felt like, look how hot she is. And like, not that you're not sexy if you're wearing clothes. I don't need to go into that. Anyway, it just feels like the other choice felt sexier, but this one's more like ho-hum, and she's doing it because she agreed to it, she committed to it, or she feels like she has to. But even with the boring aspect, she does have what she needs. She can get what she wants. She has some control over her day-to-day, even if she has to do this chore. It feels like she's taken care of, at least. She's safe. But it's not this like same like powerful choice that it feels like it is over here. You could also feel controlled by this path. Both paths could have you feeling controlled, but I don't see this one as much control over you in the negative way I saw in the last cards. It's not as tricky, but short term for this choice, you may not love it, but there are positives. It may feel boring in comparison to the other choice, but there is a safety in it. So how will this path affect you in the long term? We have this Queen of Cups, and we also have this King of Cups over here. So I do wonder if long term this choice will feel more aligned and right for you. Possibly, but it may take some settling into it, or it may, as soon as I said settling, you may feel like you're settling. I don't know. But long term, there is emotional stability, safety, and comfort. There is nurturing energy here with the Queen of Cups, feeling comfortable with yourself, being able to provide for yourself and others, or being provided for. Though I still sense a little dissatisfaction. And I can't tell if that is from current you feeling dissatisfied with this choice, or a long-term future you feeling sort of dissatisfied by your life. There is comfort here. And I feel like the glint that you see in these crystals around her neck, I don't know if you can see that, but it hints to me toward a prosperity. And I do feel like there is prosperity, security, maybe money or abundance in this path that may is lost in this path, or like what you're promised in this path, you do actually get, whereas this one's not the case. But also, even though a lot of this is good, I mean, I love the Queen of Cups, but there is a little bit of wondering here. I wonder if you're trying to be something that you're not and trying to fit in a way that you don't want to. And like, even like over here, you had to keep up appearances. I think you have to keep up appearances over here too. It's just a different kind of keeping up appearances. And I'm starting to think that neither one of these paths may fully be for you, honestly, because it feels like either way, you're sort of having to do things to please other people or try to fit into a mold, and it's not fully true to you, or you feel sort of dissatisfied in the end either way, and like something else could bring you more joy. But let's look at what the overall pros or the positives to this path would be with the 10 of Pentacles, which is a great card. There are certainly positives to this choice. The 10 of Pentacles is a really positive card where you are receiving and enjoying abundance in multiple areas of your life. You could be wealthier, have more money. You could have more family or community support. You would have probably the material things that you want. You might feel more a part of something. You might feel more sense of community, definitely. Although the way she's looking in the mirror, I know that that's her reflection, but it kind of doesn't look like what she would look like. So I wonder if you... And the way she's dressed here versus here, I wonder if it definitely feels again like you're sort of being controlled and expected to be a certain way and you can't fully be yourself, or like it's more like buttoned up. So it does make me wonder if there's a religious aspect to this side or something that has, instead of feeling like maybe positive spiritually, it may feel restrictive, or the people around you are kind of restrictive, like you're not fully getting to be yourself. But we are looking at the positives. So let me not dive too deeply into that. But yeah, because this group does feel like it has family or religious or community pressure, or just your own internal idea of what is right or what you should do, it does seem likely that by taking the path that's more accepted or feels more acceptable, you will feel more loved and accepted and wealthy in this regard. And it's not like you don't get to be yourself at all. Like maybe you do find a way to express yourself. I mean, she's wearing these clothes. She's got things that she wants around her. So, you know, maybe you do get to wear or do what you want or have more of that. Or you have things that you want that are more you. But in this last choice over here, it looked like you had to give up your hobbies or your interests or things that make you you. And I'm seeing you over here. You're getting to enjoy those things in this card and sort of having it all. But there's also a loneliness here, it feels like, because the 10 of Pentacles usually has all of these people in it, like people and dogs. And here you're alone. You have yourself as company. And so maybe, but there also feels like less loneliness in this choice. So maybe what's happening is actually that you're not lonely, but you have this mix between aloneness and other people. So there's a balance here, because this is also about the positives. You know, because she's looking at her reflection, it makes me think that this choice over here allows for more reflection, more internal knowing and understanding as well, and eventually be more yourself in this choice. What will the overall cons or the negatives to this choice be? We have the King of Cups here, the Elder of Cups. And the fact that the cons is usually a positive card does make me think maybe we've already covered any cons and overall things are generally more positive in this choice. But if we think about the Queen and the King of Cups and you're choosing between partners or love interests, this King looks way older than the Queen. And so I feel like you could be less attracted to this person. Not that I'm saying age gaps are like not good, but it just feels like you could have less passion for this choice. And even though your feelings may change somewhat, like you may end up having more passion or love for them or something. It doesn't feel like it's going to completely 180. Like you may never feel the way you feel about this choice, but maybe that's a good thing. But it is coming through as a con, so maybe it's not. You may feel again with this choice that you have to go along with traditions or rules or expectations that you feel that you've outgrown or you don't want to do anymore or that aren't right for you. So again, maybe you're having to be a certain way for acceptance, which you also have to do over here, and not the way you most want to be. And so there is a feeling of being stifled with this choice. And so again, I kind of want to say, like, I don't know if I like either one of these choices, but let's see what else you need to know about this path. And we have the Justice card, this Hail card. Hail, am I saying that right? Sometimes I can't pronounce things with A's very well. We have the Dog, Loyalty, and Belonging. And we have Tortoise, slowly but surely getting ahead. So with this choice here on the right, there is a greater sense of belonging. Like I said, in this choice, there's more of a feeling of community, support, stability, security, safety. There seems to be more harmony and balance. And part of the reason I also say that is because this 42 right here in numerology would reduce down to a 6, which could be about harmony. There's more approval here, more safety. But like I said before, it does feel stifling, a little bit constrained, a little bit boring. It feels like you're a little trapped in some ways, but then in other ways, there's a comfort that comes with this choice. And honestly, with the Hail card here, I do feel more of that support, you know, the way that it feels like this is you flying off and doing things and you're like, hey, like it feels like you're waving, like, I don't know, it just feels supportive. I don't know how to describe that. But I also feel like, you know, this also could be you making the choice to respect the people or the structures in your life, but also choosing an entirely different path. One that is more freeing, that is more supported maybe than this path, but it is more you and it's not as overly risky. Maybe it's one where you have more support, you've planned better for it. It just feels like, okay, like you have what you need and that it's not as this. So you could still be like accepted, but it's more you. And so I think group 3 that you're not really necessarily meant to take either of these roads, that you can, but either way, you might find your soul calling you to go in a different direction. And maybe like instead of rushing into something over here that's requiring you to move quickly, you more slowly decide, you reflect and you decide what's right here and what's wrong, what feels okay to me and supportive, and what feels like it's not me. And that another direction may not have presented itself yet, or you don't know it exists just yet. And so that's why it feels like these are your choices, or maybe there is a third choice that you know exists and that's the one you're meant to take. But even look at this 2 of Pentacles that you chose. This person has 2 choices here, but she's not choosing either one of them. She's going in a different way. She's not even looking at them, you know? And it doesn't mean you have to completely abandon if you have a community over here or something, you know, you may not have to abandon it. But if this is a person over here and this is a person over here and you're trying to decide between them, I don't think either one of them is quite right for you and that someone else will present themselves. But I think group 3, that's all I have for you. And I really hope this was helpful. If it was, please let me know. Hit the like button. Leave a comment if you feel up to it. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I will see you again soon. Bye.